a rare moment of stillness. For years, he built his legacy on controlling conversations, but tonight, control was slipping through his fingers. Crockett spoke about how public trust dies when leaders treat truth as optional. She gave stories of communities rebuilding themselves, of single mothers who worked 3 jobs but still showed up to vote, of young people fighting cynicism with action. Her tone wove between fury and empathy, fire and grace. Every sentence felt like a heartbeat, pulsing through the viewers at home. Social media was already catching fire. Clips of her comebacks and truth bombs spreading across platforms within minutes. O'Reilly, seeing the momentum shift, leaned on his last defense, humor. "You really think you can change this system?" He laughed. "You think one person can fix centuries of politics?" Crockett smiled, not mockingly, but knowingly. O'Reilly, seeing the momentum shift, leaned on his last defense, humor. "You really think you can change this system?" He laughed. "You think one person can fix centuries of politics?" Crockett smiled, not mockingly, but knowingly. "No," she said, "but one person can start a chain reaction. That's how every revolution begins, with someone deciding enough is enough." The words echoed beyond the set, beyond the show. They became a rallying cry. The live audience stood and applauded mid-show, something that never happened before. Even the sound technicians paused, overwhelmed by the authenticity they were witnessing. By the final segment, the energy in the room had transformed. O'Reilly's voice was quieter now, as if the fight had melted into reflection. "You've given people a lot to think about tonight," he admitted. "Maybe too much." Crockett smiled. "Thinking isn't dangerous, Bill, ignorance is." She turned to the camera as if addressing every viewer directly. "We live in a time when shouting gets more attention than truth. But truth doesn't need a microphone, it needs courage. The kind of courage that speaks even when it's interrupted." The audience cheered, tears in some eyes. O'Reilly folded his notes, a subtle admission that the debate had evolved beyond politics. Crockett ended with words that would echo for weeks online. "We're not here to argue who's right. We're here to remember what's right." Silence, not awkward, sacred. Then the applause erupted again, louder than before. Millions would later rewatch this clip, sharing lines that resonated. "If you have the freedom to ask questions, have the courage to hear answers." Real change begins when we stop confusing noise with truth. The next day, headlines called it the debate that changed the tone of American television. Viewers described it as the moment authenticity defeated arrogance. Comment sections overflowed with quotes, reactions, and disbelief that something so raw had aired live. And as Jasmine Crockett walked off that stage, her head high, her steps calm, there was no doubt she had done more than win an argument. She had reminded millions what integrity sounds like when it refuses to bow. In that studio, under those glaring lights, 2 worlds collided, ego and empathy won. The story didn't end with applause, it began there. Because somewhere out there, a young woman watched that clip and believed for the first time that her voice could matter too.